Hey, how we doing, guys? It's your boy Meteor Kaiser here, back again with another challenge video. This time we've got a very weird idea that I just happened to find online, and I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and rock it. It is beyond stupid and I love it. So we are doing a run of Pokemon Platinum. Let's just go over what the run we're doing here is. We are doing a run of can you beat Pokemon Platinum as a Christian? And before you guys are like, what the fuck? It has nothing to do with the actual religion. It's just a run challenge that I saw online. And you'll understand a little bit more when I explain the rules for this. So there's a lot more rules in this than your normal run. So the rules that I found online and the ones that I followed is you are not allowed to evolve your Pokemon. You are, however, allowed to catch something that's already evolved in nature. So for example, I'm not allowed to evolve my starter, but I can go out and catch myself a wild Floatzel if I wanted to and use it. I may not use, catch, train anything related to 3 types: Dark, Ghost, and Psychic, because the occult, we're trying to avoid that crap. Pokemon must reach level 22 before they're able to be put in the daycare center. Now, I don't know why 22, if that's why not 21, but I've got no idea. But anyway, 2 Pokemon of the same gender cannot be in the daycare at once. If a player obtains a Pokemon egg, it is their duty to keep said egg on them and train the newborn until it has reached level 18 before depositing or releasing. So for example, in this run, I'll be taking that Togepi egg and I have to make sure it gets level 18 before I can go on / use any other party member. Legendaries must be killed. None are caught because they are false idols. Pokemon may not be resurrected from fossils, and all players should avoid research laboratories at all costs. Now the only exception to this is of course Rowan's lab, which we have no choice but to go to. Players may not gamble at game corners, so specifically in the Veilstone game corner, and no use of self-improving narcotics, aka no zincs, calciums, rare candies, the likes, are strictly prohibited. You can still buy coins from the game corners, but you can't use them. But that's what it says here, but I've addendumed that to just say no game corners at all. Any serpent type Pokemons are completely off the limits as well. No Pokemon that look like serpents are allowed at all. So in this case it would be like no Ekans, Arbok, Seviper, that kind of thing. Players may not catch nor train them. No snake handling. And then a couple of extra rules I have added on, nothing too bad, just no X items and no double team. So that's really about it. Besides that, I'm pretty much giving myself free reign here, and no over leveling unless I absolutely have to. And some of the points in the game you'll see that I do. So with that out of the way, that's pretty much it. So we could just jump into it. If you guys haven't done so already and you like the content and you like the idea, especially for this one, it's a really cool idea, go ahead and hit that sub button. Of course, you can always unsubscribe later if you want to. But if you do like this stuff and you want to keep up with it, hit that sub button. For me, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, and let's just jump into it. So for our first little bit, it's not too exciting. We go ahead and select the female character because Dawn's better. So I name her Lily, which is the default name I give all my female characters. We do the first few starting things in Twin Leaf Town. We run into Barry, what a shocker. And then Barry's like, hey, let's go into the grass. But going into the grass is a bad idea, and Professor Rowan stops us. We basically beg Rowan for a Pokemon, and he caves in. So he gives me and Barry each a Pokemon. I go ahead and take Turtwig, and he takes Chimchar. I go ahead and battle Barry, beat his ass, and then Barry takes me into Verity Lakefront, because there's a cool legendary there. And then there's this weird looking man who's just talking to himself, like an absolute psychopath. And Barry roasts him. And then we make our way to Sandgem Town in order to visit the professor. We name our Turtwig Eden, because that just seems fitting to me. We head back home, let our mom know that we're traveling. We get the running shoes, and we start making our way through the game. First we pop through Route 201. And just to have a little bit of bulk for my team, I go ahead and capture myself a Shinx, because I'm a little bit worried that I'm going to have some issues. So I capture the Shinx, name it Noelle, and it helps me get through the first few areas of the game. We make our way through the first route, get to Jubilife. Lucas, who is Professor Rowan's assistant, tells us that we're awful Pokemon trainers and we're not catching enough. And we run into best boy Looker. Looker is an Interpol detective person, and he's looking for crooks, but we don't know any, so he's just like, hey, here's a versus recorder, take that for now, I'm gonna go run off and do some stuff. And we're like, alright, that was weird. After that, we go ahead and meet the Poketch guy, who gives us this little Pokemon watch device called the Poketch. It basically gives a spot for our bottom screen. It's going to be pretty useful for showing off my team. After that, I go to the route to the north just to do a little bit of leveling before I go to the east, in which you'll have to fight Barry again. Barry has a level 7 Starly and a level 9 Chimchar. I take down the Starly with Eden, and I take down the Chimchar with a combination of Noelle and Eden. I'm pretty much mainly using Eden here, but Noelle is kind of like a last resort backup. We make our way through that east route, get through the tunnel, and we make our way into Orberg, which was going to be home of what I assumed was going to be my first Pokemon. So I was like, interesting. I might decide to pick an Onix up, because I never run Onix, and Onix doesn't evolve into Steelix unless you trade it with a metal coat. So I'm like, I don't really have to worry about not evolving my Mons. So I was like, oh, let's go for it. But then after a lot of time, it took a lot of Pokeballs, I caught it, and I read its Pokedex intro. They call it the Rock Snake Pokemon, and the keyword there is snake. So I kind of fucked myself out of that one, because I refused to use any snake type characters. I thought it was just going to be Ekans and Arbok and Seviper, but I'm counting Onix as a snake because it says it in its Pokedex entry. So I'm like, shit. Well, that goes that plan. With our plan foiled, I go for another option. So right above the Orberg, there's a little patch of grass where you can get Machops and Ponytas. And I go ahead and pick up a Ponyta. Now the reason I do this is because Ponyta is a Pokemon that does not evolve until level 40. And the second gym is weak to fire types. So I'm like, alright, this is going to be good. It's going to keep me over for a while until I get my team set up properly. Because I don't really want to use any Mons where I have to like constantly press the B button, because that's just a pain in the ass. So I just want a team that won't evolve for a little bit. After catching the Ponyta, I make my way back through the Orberg mines, meet Roark down there. He teaches us about Rock Smash, and then he goes back to the gym. We beat his ass real quick with Eden. His team literally consists of one Geodude, level 12 Geodude, which dies to one Razor Leaf, level 12 Onix, which dies to 2 Razor Leafs, and a level 14 Cranidos, which dies to 1 Razor Leaf. So we got our first badge pretty easily there. After beating him, we head back to Jubilife City, because that's the only way we can go, because we were supposed to go to that route to the north where we trained up before. We run into Looker again, and Looker's like, hey, there's been suspicious people here, just be careful. And we're like, okay. So I train up my Ponyta for a bit, just to get to level 10. And then I go up north, and I see Professor Rowan and Lucas there, along with some weird looking guys. Rowan roasts them, and then we battle them. They are Team Galactic, the bad guys for this region, who are pretty cool. I like their battle theme. Anyway, after that, we make our way north through the cave. We have Rock Smash now that we got from beating the first gym. So we're able to make our way through that little cave there, make our way north into Floroma Town, which has been kind of taken over, by Team Galactic. But it's just the Valley Windworks, which is to the right of Floroma Town itself. So this little girl basically is like, hey, my dad's been kidnapped. Can you go save him? He's in Valley Windworks, which is that building on the right. We're like, okay, cool, we'll do that. So first we have to go to the north of Floroma Town. There's a little meadow where there's 2 Team Galactic grunts, so you have to fight back to back. They've just got some Zubats and some Stunkies, so not too bad. We take care of them, then we're able to get into the Valley Windworks area. There's a few grunts in there. We just take them down, I heal up, make sure I have enough potions and stuff. Because now we have our first, what I consider, semi-difficult fight against the first of 3. Well, technically 4 in this game, because there's a Charon, who's one of the leaders, but one of the main Team Galactic commanders, Mars. I wonder what the theme here is. Galactic, Mars. It's funny, I know. So she leads off with a level 15 Zubat. I lead off with my Ponyta, who I named Rin, because, you know, I'm basic. It decides to poison me first turn, which is nice. So I just go ahead and Ember away, taking care of the Zubat. The Zubat is not the problem here. Zubats are, you know, they're Zubats. They're never a problem. So next is her ace, which is Purugly. Now Purugly destroys me, so I have to use Eden for a bit, who is at the level that you'd normally get Eden to a Grottle. Or Turtwig to a Grottle, I should say. But I end up dealing with the Perugly pretty easily because my Razor Leaf is a 3-hit kill, which isn't too bad. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Anyway, we're done with that fight. So we've sort of gone through Floroma Town. So the next option is to go north into the Eterna Forest, in which we meet our first party member. It's only going to be 2 in this playthrough because I don't really go through much of this. It is Cheryl, and you're going to basically have a system where you have double battles all throughout this area. So it's going to be you and Cheryl. Cheryl has a level 20 Chansey. And in between every fight, you're going to get a full heal. So it's a great area if you have some low leveled mons that you want to grind. However, I'm not too worried because it is a forest. So there's bug types and grass types. And Rin's like the only person I'm going to be using for a while anyway, so I don't have to grind too much, and I said I wouldn't grind that much anyway. So we make our way out of the forest to the right, and we make it into Eterna City itself. As soon as we're there, we run across this blonde-haired girl named Cynthia, who seems pretty nice. She gives us the HM for cut, which we're gonna need later, but we can't use cut yet until we've actually dealt with the gym leader for this area. And of course, this gym leader is pretty easy for us to deal with. We are going through the grass type gym. There's a lot of Badu's, Roselias, that type of thing. So the gym trainers are again pretty easy, but we go ahead and take on the gym leader, Gardenia, who starts off with a level 20 Turtwig. Rin by this point is level 22 and has Flame Wheel. So pretty easy. First turn, I hit that Flame Wheel, I get a burn, which never happens, but it's nice, and the burn is just enough to kill the Turtwig, so I don't have to worry about any healing going on here. Next up is her Cherrim, who tends to be the Sunny Day setup person, but instead of setting up, the Cherrim goes for Leech Seed, which is annoying, but I don't think the fight's going to be long enough for me to have to worry about stall. I hit him with another Flame Wheel and take out the Cherrim. Next is her Ace, a level 22 Roserade. And the thing is, this thing is even weaker than everything else. So I straight up just one-shot it. And there we go. I beat Gardenia. And next I move on to the North Building. I think it's just called the Eterna Building, in which it's a Team Galactic base. So we go through there. There's a bunch of items. You can skip enemies if you know the pattern. Like, because there's 2 sets of stairs every flight. And if you go the right one, you're going... Well, one's obviously going to be a dead end and the other isn't. So, you know, I need training, so... And I don't consider it grinding, so... The only problem is the very, very top, right? We run across already the second admin of Team Galactic. Team Galactic member Jupiter. She has the same sort of team where she's rocking a level 21 Zubat, and then she has Perugly's counterpart, Stun Tank. Now, Stun Tank gives me, a lot of problems. It is a very powerful Pokemon that uses Night Slash, which has a very high chance of critting, and it's like a 70 base power move. Don't know how you got it so early. So I have to go through 2 attempts. The second attempt was the one where I won because I burned it. And of course, burn cuts attack by about half whenever you get it, so it's beautiful. So I burn, and then I also have Stomp, so I try and like flinch it as well, and it works a couple of times. So I flinch and burned. I'm trying to get all the hacks here. With that stupid strategy, I beat Jupiter. Next, we are given a bike at the bike shop, which is nice for beating Team Galactic, because for some reason the bike shop manager was at the top of the tower. No idea why, but I mean, it says it in there somewhere, but I don't... You think I pay attention to the story? We got a bicycle. We try and head south, and then Cynthia's like, hey, here's an egg, and we're like, fuck. So I run around like a madman. I hatch the egg. It is a Togepi, who I named Solomon. And thankfully, that door to the south, there is someone wearing a lab coat who happens to be Lucas's father, who basically is like, hey, if you've seen a certain amount of Pokemon, you get an EXP share. And we're like, ooh, I didn't ban EXP shares. So I just slapped the EXP share on Solomon and just let it get to 18 naturally. We head down south through that bike path, going through all the enemies. There's really not too many bad enemies here. A lot of Staravias, to be honest, but Rin takes care of everything here. I head down south real quick because if you go down, you can actually get to Orberg, which is nice because I heal up there and then I can go back up. So we run into Lucas, gives this the VS Seeker, I believe it is, where you can find people to refight. And I will not be using that unless I absolutely have to, and you'll see why that happens in the future, but that's foreshadowing. Anyway, we make our way through the sort of beginning part of Mount Coronet, and we actually catch our first official proper party member. And trust me, hindsight's 20/20, because I regretted it a little bit. But I catch myself a nose pass because I've never really used a nose pass before. And I'm like, interesting concept. And I knew nose pass had a lot of defense, but I didn't realize his defense stat was that damn high. He has awful HP, hardly any attack. So he's literally just a tank. I also catch my next party member, who is going to be permanent as well, which is Roselia, which is just to the grass patch to the right of Mount Coronet. Roselia is going to be pretty nice because it's just a solid grass type. I've got grass poison type. I've got Mega Drain, Leech Seed, Magical Leaf, Stun Spore. I got good moves, so I don't think I have to worry for that long. Anyway, we're able to make our way into Hearthome City. We run across our mother who talks to us about the beauty pageant stuff. We're like, okay, cool, whatever. But we actually need to be there because Fantina is there, and Fantina is the third gym leader. And I thought she was going to give me a pain in the ass, but lo and behold, we actually have another party member that we pick up right before the gym fight, which is going to be a Bibarel in that same grass patch. I'm like, you know what? I don't use Bibarels much either. But Bibarel is a solid damn Pokemon, and Bibarel does help a lot for this gym fight. I named Roselia Terra, Bibarel Godot, and I named my Nosepass Roxanne because I'm basic. Anyway, we go ahead and get through the gym puzzle. Kind of a little annoying, but not terrible. And I start the fight against Fantina. She leads off with a level 24 Duskull, and I lead off with my level 21 Godot. I do the whole defense curl rollout strategy because I think it'll be pretty nice. I do get hit by Willow, though, so it's going to be a little bit annoying. But essentially, I trade my life for the Duskull's life. Next up, she brings her Miss Magius out now, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So I bring out Terra, my Roselia. I have to do a little bit of heal spam for a little bit until I'm able to get a Leech Seed off. And then I bring out Eden for bait, and I bring in Rin to finish up with a Flame Wheel. Haunter is the last mon to come out, level 24 Haunter, and Rin just takes care of it. I'm still using Rin a little bit because Rin's just a solid Pokemon. She's level 27 at the end of that, whereas the rest of my team is 21, 23 max. So she's got to cover us for a little bit until I level up a bit more because I just don't want to grind my team up too much. Anyway, as we're about to leave Hearthome, we run across Barry again. And Barry's got a stacked team now. He's got 4 Pokemon. He starts off with level 25 Staravia, and I lead with Roxanne. And he knows how to withdraw, so it's just kind of annoying. One thing I did not mention, I can't believe I haven't done this yet. I also played the game on set, not Switch. So it makes it a little bit harder that I'm not able to switch in between moves, but you've probably seen that by now. But anyway, he swaps into Weasel, which gets destroyed by Terra. That Monferno gives me a lot of problems, but I take it out with my Ponyta. I take out the Roselia real quick, and then all that's left is just that Staravia at the very end. Oh, just kidding, I didn't even... I'm going back to my footage and I didn't realize I got a crit on Rock Tomb, or on Rock Throw. So never mind, Staravia's already dead. Oops. Also, if you haven't noticed, the footage is going to be kind of like weirdly sped up because it's sped up on my editing program and then it's sped up when I play the game because, man, I do not want to sit through a full fucking Pokemon game. Like, I do, but you know what I mean, like, I have the super speed button, man, so I'm just going to use it. Anyway, we're heading on right past Barry. We beat him. I use these trainers before Solaceon Town to do a bit of grinding because boy do I need it. I get to Solaceon Town. You know, I pretty much just skipped Solaceon Town, to be honest, because to be honest, what's more important to me is that Moo Moo Milk. So I get a bunch of Moo Moo Milks, like a crap ton, and I make my way towards Veilstone. This route is traditionally pretty annoying, but this route was pretty nice for me because I got my next party member. I got Noah, who is going to be my Scyther. Scyther is just a solid Pokemon in general. So I was like, yeah, this is going to be very nice. It's very offensive. So, and Scyther completely carries me through the Veilstone gym. Like, it's disgusting how easily the gym was after I got Scyther. I get through the gym trainers like nobody's business, and I make my way to Maylene. Maylene leads off with a level 28 Meditite. I lead with Noah. Next comes in that Machoke, but Machoke actually uses a Rock Throw and destroys me. However, I'm not too worried because Lucario is her ace, and I'm a fire type. Or at least Ponyta is a fire type. I go ahead and use Flame Wheel on Lucario, who is part steel, and it does half. I did get paralyzed, however, so unfortunately, Ponyta is going to go down to a Drain Punch. Out comes Terra, and I do what I do best. Heal spam. Yeah, I literally just heal spam. I Leech Seed and heal spam. I never said I couldn't. This isn't a no healing challenge, so hehehe. We leave the gym, and apparently Lucas is there, and he's gotten something stolen from him by Team Galactic grunts. So we take his stuff back, and we meet Looker again. Looker's like, this warehouse is suspicious, and then we leave it. Then we head down south towards Pastoria City, get a lot of training done on the way there. Making our way into Pastoria, we have our next fight with Barry, and it's even worse than before. Now, oh my lord, I am like, Staravia is level 34, and I lead with a level 26. Yeah, that just shows how different the levels are right now. I'm like, oh my god, this fight is going to be impossible for me to win. Thankfully though, I switch over to my nose pass, and Staravia is like, hey, let me double team, and I'm like, ooh, I taught him Shockwave. So Shockwave is going to be very useful here. I try and just match matchups as much as I can. He swaps out his mons a lot, so I've got to swap mine out a lot. He's got the same team with the Roselia, the Buizel. They're in their 30s. And the Monferno, which thank god it's level 36, but it's not evolved yet. So, and the Monferno should be a little bit easier for me this time, because I have to tag team it with Godot and Noah, but I get killed. So on my second attempt, I make sure I use Roxanne. And Monferno does a lot of damage, but it's not enough to kill. I have to heal spam, and I make sure I use block to prevent Monferno from switching. Monferno is paralyzed. I have super potions. Mach Punch kills in 3 hits, so I've got 1 time in between healing to do damage. So like a scumbag, I rinse and repeat, and I beat Barry. Crasher Wake is not nearly as bad. Okay, so once we get through with Barry, we make our way into the Pastoria City gym, in which we get through the trainers real simply. This guy is a water type gym leader, so we fight Crasher Wake. Now I start off with Terra, and I make sure right now I have toxic spikes, and I set up those spikes because I'm gonna need those spikes. I heal spam for a little bit, and I'm basically able to kill Gyarados with Leech Seed, Poison, and some Giga Drain action. Magical Leaf, all of that stuff. Floatzel comes out next, and I'm able to stall out Floatzel with Godot because it's poisoned. And then next is Quagsire, who gets just obliterated by Godot. My B-Barrel carried me. The water type carried me, which is kind of weird. Anyway, our Pokemon are completely underleveled because his ace, Floatzel, is level 37. My ace is like level 30. I'm like, oh shit. But talking about oh shit, we go up to the marsh, which is like this area, it's kind of like the Safari Zone. I don't end up ever going in there, but it's important because a Team Galactic employee decides to blow it up. Yes, there is terrorism in a Pokemon game. So while Crasher Wake goes to check in on the marsh, we chase down the terrorist, eventually to a point where we fight him, and you know, we can't really do anything after that. He just runs away. We actually run into Cynthia, who gives us a secret potion. Now, back where those Moo Moo Milks were, north of Selacion Town, there are a few Psyducks blocking the path. With this secret potion, you're able to get those Psyducks to move, and we'll be able to progress to the next area. Cynthia wants us to go meet her grandmother in Celestic Town, and she'll be able to tell us about the legends of Sinnoh and all that shit. It's also my least favorite area because there's a constant fog over the entire area. Now there's an HM that you can get in the tower to the south of Selacion that has defog, and that is a move. That is an HM move that will get rid of fog. However, 1, I don't want to waste a slot. 2, that's a pain in the ass. But more of a pain in the ass is getting to this area, to be honest. And there's literally a fight that I cannot win. There is a Probopass that shows up about halfway through this route that I literally cannot kill. So I have to avoid it. I feint out and I have to just walk around it. As I make my way into Celestic Town, I'm like, I'm gonna pick up my last 2 Pokemon here. Because I was riding on getting a Skarmory, but then I realized Skarmory's not in this game. Or it's not until late game that you can get a Skarmory. So I'm like, alright, whatever. Let's pick up a Noctowl and a Machoke. And it took me longer than I thought because Machoke has a low chance of showing up. And I killed it once by mistake. So that was fun. So I was there for a little bit trying to find a good one. So anyway, I capture Luna, who is my stupidly named Noctowl. And the only problem with having Luna is I'm only going to be able to use normal type moves and flying type moves. Not any psychic type moves like a Noctowl traditionally learns, like Zen Headbutt, Confusion, Hypnosis, all of those good moves. And of course I can't use those, so I'm sort of stuck with just a defensive flying type, which is fine. He ends up helping, but like my team is just meh. Then I capture that Machoke, name it you because you know, call me both biggest Chad I know. But the problem with the Machoke is its moveset is kind of cheeks. Now, it does have no guard, which is going to be great later on when I get Dynamic Punch. But for right now, my team's just kind of cheeks. My best thing right now is my Scyther. And that's going to be my ace pretty much the entire playthrough. Until a certain point. Anyway, we make our way through into this little cave place in the middle of Celestia Town. And guess who shows up? But that weird guy that we saw at the beginning of the game. He also showed up in Mount Coronet when I captured my nose pass. It is Cyrus, who is the leader of Team Galactic. He traditionally runs Dark type Mons, Dark type Poison type, that type of stuff. So he's got a level 34 Sneasel, who I take out with you. A level 34 Golbat, who I take out with Roxanne. And a level 36 Murkrow, who I take out with Noah. We're going to speed up the pace a little bit from here on out. We make our way back to Jubilife because the next area of the game is Canalave City, which we can get to from the left of Jubilife, I should say. And now that we have Surf given to us by Cynthia's grandma, we make our way there. We run across Barry again. We have a nice little fight against his upgraded team, which all of his mons are now evolved. He's got a Staraptor, Floatzel, a Heracross, an Infernape, and a Roserade. However, I don't have as many problems with this team this time. Before I make my way to the gym, I actually go north to Iron Island, which I do a little bit of training. I meet Riley along the way, and we do that whole partner thing. I grind for a little bit, especially with Godot, and I make my way into the gym, which the gym gave me a bunch of problems, so I had to do even more grinding. Yay! Because Byron, who is actually Roark's father, which is pretty cool, his Magneton was a bane of my existence. His Magneton is level 37, which I end up having to use you to kill. He has a level 38 Steelix, which Godot sort of take cares of with Surth. And his ace, the level 41 Bastiodon, is a pain in the ass, but I heal spam with Godot and beat Byron. We go to the library in Canalave City. Rowan tells us about a bunch of legend stuff, and then we hear about a little terrorist incident. Again, yay! So remember that place that we caught the guy who blew up the shit? Yeah, Team Galactic ended up blowing the lake that was right next to it. So there's a bunch of Magikarps everywhere, all dying and shit, and it's like, wow, this is kind of fucked. Once we make our way inside the cavern, we run across the last commander of Team Galactic, Saturn, who has a Bronzor, a Golbat, and a Toxicroak. Thank God the Toxicroak is part fighting, because it would have been a pain in the ass if it wasn't. After we deal with Saturn, we have to make our way back to Verity, which is the first lake that we ran across in the very beginning. There's some Team Galactic people there, and then Mars is there as well. So we have to fight Mars again. Mars is easy this time though, because I got a Machoke to deal with Perugly. After that is all said and done, we make our way up to the 7th gym leaders area, which is going to be Snowpoint City. So we make our way north of Mount Coronet, get into the snow region, and we make our way to the gym. The gym puzzle's a pain in the ass, but what's even worse is the boss fight. And that goddamn fucking Frostlass with Snowcloak. It doesn't help that Machoke can't hit the damn Frostlass, and that half of my team is weak against ice. So I have to spend a good amount of time grinding here, which is a fun pain in the ass. Candace just drives me up a wall. So with the successful fight, she starts out with a level 40 Sneasel. I have a level 46 Scyther at this point. I X-Scissor, destroy the Sneasel. I get a crit on the Frostlass with Wing Attack, and I'm like, oh my god, life loves me. And all that's left is just an Abomasnow and a Piloswine, which isn't too bad. I take out the Abomasnow somehow with Scyther. Piloswine kills my Scyther, but that's not too bad because I could just finish it off with Roselia. Anyway, after that, we make our way to the lakefront that's in this area. Jupiter is there. Jupiter beats Barry's ass and just leaves. Jupiter's like, hey, you stink, loser. And Barry's like, oh shit, you're right. Our next job now is to head back to Veilstone City to make our way through the Galactic HQ, which really isn't that bad, surprisingly. Normally these sort of areas are just super annoying, but this one was pretty easy. It was short and sweet for the most part. The only real threat I had to deal with was Cyrus at the end, with rocking a level 44 Sneasel, a 44 Crobat, and his ace, a 46 Honchkrow. Honchkrow was easily the worst mon to deal with, and I literally had to revive spam and stall with Roxanne at the very end. So it was awful. I barely made it. We make our way through the back side of the HQ. We run across Saturn again. His team isn't too much worse to deal with, but I wasn't exactly expecting to fight him there. So I died and I had to go back because I kind of forgot, to be honest. Anyway, at this point we have 7 of our 8 gym badges, but we're like, hey, now we've got to go stop Cyrus from doing whatever the fuck he was gonna do. So we have to climb ourselves all the way up to Mount Coronet, to the top of Mount Coronet, which isn't too bad. But once we make our way to the pillar, or the top part, we have to fight against Jupiter and Mars at the same time. But it's a double battle with Barry. We're able to beat them, and then we have a little cutscene with some legendaries, and we follow Cyrus into the Distortion World, which is led by Giratina, or Giratina, however you want to pronounce his name. I don't care. So we have to do a little bit of a puzzle here in order to get our way through. Once we reach the end, we have to fight against Cyrus again, who beats my ass again. So I have to do more training. Yay! Because Cyrus's team is even worse this time. He leads off with a level 45 Houndoom, which I go ahead and deal with you know who, Scyther, because I expected to deal with the Houndoom with B-Barrel, but B-Barrel got his ass handed to him with Flamethrower somehow. So I was like, alright, Scyther, just deal with everything. Next up is his ace Honchkrow, but Scyther dies, and I'm like, oh shit. So I use Terra as a sacrifice, heal up Scyther, kill the Honchkrow. Our next is Crobat, and I'm able to two-shot that Crobat with a nice juicy wing attack. Next up is a Gyarados, who I use Luna to heal up Scyther again. So I'm just like, alright, fuck it, everyone can die to Scyther. And last up is the level 48 Weavile, who I paralyze with Roxanne and then cross-chop with you. That's that taken care of. Cynthia heals our Pokemon, and then we have to go fight against Giratina. And since we're not allowed to keep Giratina, we have to destroy it. So I do the easy thing. I Toxic with Terra, and I just stall with the rest of my team. Like, what can one Pokemon do against Toxic, just besides him die? So yeah, we get to murder that guy. So that was fun. And then we come out and I see a Dusclops, and I'm like, shit, I want a Dusclops. That would be nice. But nope, can't have one. Now that all of the Team Galactic stuff is out of the way, we're good now, so we can make our way towards the Elite Four. But first we gotta take on the 8th gym leader, who is in Sunny Shore City. But we have to get through a little route and get used to this route, because we're gonna be seeing a lot later. More foreshadowing, yay! Anyway, we make our way through the gym, and as I'm getting through the gym, I'm like, oh god, I'm having some problems already. Magnetons are giving me pains in the ass. Even Magnemites are doing a work on me, because I have, what? Scyther's weak against Electric. Godot's weak against Electric. Noctow's are weak against Electric. So half of my team is weak against Electric types. My team is just awful. My team has so many weaknesses. So the only real Pokemon I can use in this gym are Nosepass, Machoke, and Roselia. Those are the only 3 I could really use. And even Roselia is kind of bad here. So I'm able to struggle my way through the gym trainers, but that's not going to help me for the gym leader himself, Faulkner. Faulkner absolutely kicks my ass, especially with his level 50 Electivire. Oh my lord. I think beats my ass, dude. I try against him like 3 times. Thankfully, on the 3rd time, I got super fucking lucky. So he leads off with a level 46 Jolteon. I lead off with my Scyther. I try and X-Scissor to do as much as I can, and it ends up doing half. That Jolteon ends up Thunder Waving me, so it's kind of a yikes. But I suck up the Thunder Wave and just kill the Jolteon. Raichu comes out next, and Raichu kills my Scyther, but I swap into Roxanne, revive Scyther, so Scyther can continue to kill everything for me. We're doing the old Scyther does everything strat. So I X-Scissor the Raichu, Raichu gets destroyed. I X-Scissor the Luxray, which is the next Mon, which is level 48. Does not get destroyed, it is a 3-hit. However, the Thunder thing that the Luxray is doing to me does half. It does end up critting me on the 2nd time, but it doesn't really matter. I'm like, alright, the Luxray is low enough, so I just send in you, cross-chop him. Even though the gym leader full restores, cross-chop does about the same as X-Scissor, so I cross-chop again. I revive Scyther, bring out him, X-Scissor him, and then Electivire comes out. I X-Scissor the Electivire. It does half. Electivire uses its Citrus Berry, so it's at about 3/4 HP. If Thunder punches, Scyther goes down, and I rinse and repeat the whole, let's send out a Pokemon, revive Scyther, X-Scissor, rinse and repeat. It's a bullshit strategy. It shouldn't work, but it did, because I am a cheating bastard. We have completely beaten all of the gym leaders now, and all we have left to do is get through Victory Road and the Elite Four. So Victory Road isn't too bad. The only thing is, a lot of my moves don't have much PP, so I have to come back and heal up every now and then. But I just go through there pretty slowly, not too bad. By the time I reach the end, all of my Pokemon are around level 50, with my Scyther being level 53. And this is where I make a huge fucking mistake, right? So I'm like, oh, my Scyther's learning Air Slash. My dumbass didn't realize Air Slash was a special move and not physical. I don't know why it's not physical. So I give it air slash instead of wing attack, and now I don't have... It's Scyther's special attack is awful compared to his physical attack. So I'm like, shit, I fucked up. My Scyther's useless now. All I've got is X Scissor. That's really good. So I'm like level 50, so I'm like, hey, I'll just give the Elite Four a shot, see what happens. Yeah, I get destroyed. So with my level 50 party, right, I make my way in, I buy some items, and I fight against Barry. Barry himself gives me a lot of problems, but this isn't even the worst of it. So Barry has a level 50 team around as well. His Ace Infernape is 51, but he isn't too bad to deal with. I do die once, however, but, you know, dying once isn't anything special to me. I have to heal spam, but, you know, whatever. It happens. And then with that, I realize, oh shit, I should probably grind a bit more. So I grind for a little bit more, then I try and fight the Elite Four for the first time. Yeah, I get destroyed by Aaron. Aaron just annihilates me, so I won't even go through that. So remember that route I was talking about before? Yeah, I spend a long ass time training there. I fight against the Elite Four every like 5 levels, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm still getting fucked. So my party from level 49 gets up to 61 before I'm, or around, because I try like 55 and I'm able to get through Aaron, but once I get to Lucian, I'm fucked. So I'm like, alright, nope, just gonna grind more. I try multiple times as well, but nope, no luck there. So my final party ends up being in level 60, a couple of level 61s. Now I'm finally comfortable with fighting against Elite Four. And the good thing about being this level is Scyther has Sword Stance. That's going to be very, very key for later. So Aaron leads off with level 49 Yanmega, who loves to double team. Thankfully, I start off with Noctowl, and Noctowl does have Aerial Ace. So I'm able to kill it with Aerial Ace pretty easily. Next up is Drapion. It's a level 53 Drapion, so it's pretty scary. I'm pretty sure that's his ace. I get pretty worried, but I use Fly a couple of times. And then I end up actually just swapping to straight up to just Godot. Godot level 60 is going to 2-hit with Surf, even though I know full restores are going to be happening, so I got a plan for that. But Cross Poison is a 3-hit kill on me, so I'm able to just heal spam through the pain. And I have like 65 Hybrid Potions, 50 revives, and like 38 full restores. So yeah, I grinded up a lot of money. Anyway, next comes Heracross, and Heracross destroys my B-Barrel. So I'm like, alright, what's the next best option? So I go into Noah, and I just air slash it, surprisingly one-shots. Next up comes Vespiquen, and I'm like, alright, I know Vespiquen's gonna use Defend Order a lot, so I'm gonna get Sword Stance to +6. I'm like, okay, cool, we're +6. But it was a bad idea because Vespiquen killed me in 2 shots. So I'm like, alright, let's just finish this with my Nose Pass. Next out comes Caesar, who's a pain in the ass. So Caesar kills Roxanne. Out comes Yu, who has Dynamic Punch. Yu one-shots the Scizor. And I beat Aaron. Thank God each of these guys only has 4 Pokemon, or I'd be fucked. Next is Bertha, and Bertha is probably the easiest one, because I lead off with Terra, the Roselia, who is very good against Whiscash, which is Bertha's opening mon. Next comes out Gliscor, who is the worst Pokemon from this team. Gliscor is a pain to deal with, so I'm like, alright, let's swap back to B-Barrel. Gliscor is just going to spam Earthquake. However, I'm able to one-shot it, and Godot has enough health. I outspeed the Golem that comes out next, one-shot it with Surf. I outspeed Rhyperior, the level 55 Ace, one-shot with Surf. I outspeed the Hippowdon. Hippowdon kills me because it's very bulky. So I'm just like, alright, let's just bring out Noah real quick. Let's just go ahead and X-Scissor a few times. However, I forgot about 4 restores. So I'm like, alright, let's just do what I should have done, which is Giga Drain with Terra. And I beat Bertha. Heal up my team, and move on to Flint. Flint is another kind of annoying person to deal with, but at least the start is pretty easy. I open up with Machoke, he opens up with Houndoom. I Dynamic Punch, one shot. Out comes Rapidash. Rapidash ends up killing me, but I knock it out pretty low, so I come out with Scyther, kill the Rapidash. Out comes Flareon. Flareon overheats, kills my Scyther. I bring out B-Barrel, Surf, one shot. Out comes Infernape. Infernape Thunder Punches. It's a 3-shot, so I'm good. I just waterfall spam until Infernape dies, but my B-Barrel is low on health. Next brings out Magmortar, level 57 Ace. Magmortar 3-shots me with whatever it uses besides some Solar Beam, so I'm just like, alright, Toxic time. So now is our favorite time of the day. Are you ready? It's time to revive! But before I revive, I'm like, alright, Luna is extremely bulky, and Fly is a thing. So I'm like, oh, maybe I don't have to revive spam. So I end up just flying, and Magmortar dies from Toxic Stall, because he's already used his full restores. After dealing with him, we move on to Lucian, who is the biggest pain in the ass. I'm just like, alright, fuck it. This Mr. Mime, the lead, the level 53 lead, sets up, but it has something to counter my Scyther, because I wanted to set up with Scyther as well. It has Thunderbolt. So I lead with Roxanne, and I Toxic Stall it out. After dealing with that, Bronzong comes out. I switch over to my boy. Godot, and I'm like, alright, let me see if I can one-shot it with Surf. No. Bronzong actually ends up taking me out. Then I switch over to Noah. And this is probably the best decision I could have made. Now, last time I tried this, all of it on his other Pokemon, I had to worry about their strength. So I was like, alright, I had to Toxic Stall every single one of these guys. So how am I going to deal with this? But then the Bronzong is super low on HP. So I'm like, alright, he's going to Full Restore. So let me Swords Dance. I Swords Dance. I hit X Scissor next turn. It crits and kills the Bronzong in one hit. Out comes that Mr. Mime that was unable to take care of earlier. I X Scissor it, one shot. Next comes Galactic, level 59 Ace, who I X Scissor. And just so you know, we're +2 right now. That's it. But I get a crit. And that Galactic goes down in one shot. And I'm like, oh my god, is this the run? Is this happening? Next is Espeon, level 55. Before it would give me a lot of problems, but then I'm like, oh, X Scissor is super effective. This is going to be a one shot regardless. Scyther really is my fucking carry for this run. And Lucian brings out what I had the most problems with was Alakazam. Because Alakazam is fast and strong. But if I hit it with a +2 X Scissor, it's gonna die. So Lucian was a joke compared to last time. Because before I didn't even have Scyther at this point. And I didn't have enough Pokemon to stall with. So next we have a whole... Ooh, this is a whole like 10-minute fight, damn. We have my favorite character of all time in Pokemon. And the best music for a boss fight ever. I'm not joking, this is ever. We are fighting against Cynthia, who has probably the most competitive team out of any champion out there, and it is a scary team. So she leads off with Spiritomb, and Spiritomb does not have any weaknesses. This is level 58, so we're pretty much on par with this, with Cynthia at least. So this Spiritomb tries to Dark Pulse spam me to flinch me, because Dark Pulse has a chance of flinching. However, I'm like, alright, Roxanne's my lead, I'm gonna Toxic you. And you know what happens after I Toxic you? I heal. And this is good though. What happens next is amazing for me. Because Cynthia ends up taking out Spiritomb, swapping it for Garchomp. Garchomp comes out. He Earthquakes. Or I guess it's a female Garchomp, so she Earthquakes. And I'm surprised that it kills Roxanne, to be honest. I'm actually shocked. So I'm like, alright, let's go to plan B. Plan B is Dynamic Punch. Let's see if this can work. Garchomp once again goes for Earthquake. And I Dynamic Punch. And it hit. Well, of course it's going to hit, because I have no guard. But the good thing about Dynamic Punch is that guaranteed confusion is going to save my life. So I use this opportunity to heal up, because I know that I have a chance of surviving anything. So I'm like, alright, let's see what happens. So next thing that happens is I get critted on. So that's not fun. So the crit happens, and Machoke is dead. So I'm like, alright, next option, here we go. Let's bring out Scyther, let's hit that Swords Dance. Garchomp goes for a Dragon Rush. It almost kills me. It does just over half. So it's pretty much enough to kill me. I go for X Scissor next. Lo and behold, I get a crit. Haha, 2 can play at the crit game, dumb fuck. Garchomp is down. That level 61 ace of hers is done for. Togekiss comes out next. And I'm like, alright, fuck, this is probably going to be a rip. Togekiss is very bulky and a pain to deal with. Being level 60 as well doesn't help. So I'm like, who do I go for next? And I'm like, alright, let's just go into Noctowl. Let's just do a bit of reviving. Togekiss also has Shockwave, but it doesn't do too much. So I'm able to heal spam just enough to get my entire team revived. And Noctowl's done its job. I bring out Roxanne next, but that didn't work too much. So I'm like, oh, crap. I was expecting that to do a bit better. I bring out Noah, attempt to work with that. It didn't work. I bring Roxanne in one more time, and I'm like, alright, let's just go ahead and Toxic and stall. Toxic stall, yay! Next up, after defeating that Togekiss, Lucario comes in. I deal with the Lucario with a Dynamic Punch, and it one-shots, which is nice. Next up comes in Roserade, level 58. Roserade, I bring back in, after reviving everyone, of course, I bring back in my Noctowl. Does a little bit and helps. But guess who gets another crit with an Air Slash? This guy. Who needs skill when you've got luck, right? And we're at the home stretch. We only have to deal with that Poison Spiritomb and a Milotic. and I'm not exactly scared about this Milotic. So guess who I bring out to deal with him, or her, I guess, because all of her Pokemon are female. I just realized that. First I attempt with Terra, but it actually ends up screwing me over. So I'm like, alright, let's just go ahead and bring out Scyther. Let's finish this up how we started it, with crits. So I literally get crit X Scissor on Milotic and crit X Scissor on Spiritomb. I'm like, I critted 4 of her fucking Pokemon. Are you serious? This was insane. This is honestly just such a fun run. It was so difficult because I made it harder than I had to be. I could have been like, alright, let me go grab a Luxray real quick. Let me go find a Floatzel real quick. But I'm like, alright, no, I'll just use a Nose Pass. That was a bad decision. I could have caught a Steelix in Iron Island, but I didn't. Because it wasn't a Nuzlocke run, so I was like, let me make this a little bit harder for myself. So it was a really fun run. It was an interesting idea, but it was less complicated than it sounded, because it's like, alright, I just gotta avoid Game Corner, I just gotta avoid any sort of drugs, which was good because I got extra money out of it. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you guys did as well. So I will see you in the next one, but until then, as always, peace!